Okay, so we are back, folks, to our talk about WGAD, about elasticity. And so let's take a dive into elasticity as it relates to revenue optimization. The title of your text, you might think it's important. It is. Okay, so here we go. Elasticity. Remember, this is the percentage change in quantity for a percentage change in price, and quantity, remember, price response function, percentage change in our price response, our D of P with respect to a percentage change in P. Okay, so why is this important from a revenue standpoint? Okay, so let's just take a dive into this. Look, I want you to see revenues. What is total revenues? Total revenues are equal to price times quantities. Is that right? So price times quantities. Look, because demand is downward sloping, these have an inverse relationship, meaning if I increase one, the other goes down, and if I decrease one, the other goes up. Okay, so prices drop, quantities rise. So how does that look? Prices drop hurts revenue, but at more quantities, then that helps revenue. So the question becomes, which effects dominate? Which effect dominates? You see that? That's really the question. You have two effects working in opposite directions. So the question is, which effects dominate? And that's what is determined by elasticity. It's actually very simple. Look, you have a quantity effect on the numerator. And should we stick with Christmas colors? No, actually, we got blue. I'll go blue. And we have the price effect on the denominator. Okay, so look at this. When a fraction has a numerator that's bigger than the denominator, what can we say about the fraction? Well, if the numerator is bigger than the denominator, that means, so in other words, if the percentage change in quantity is greater than this percentage change in price, or if, in other words, the quantity effects dominates the price, then that means elasticities have to be greater than 1, and we call these elastic. Okay, so what are the implications when we estimate elasticities that are greater than 1? It means we have elastic demand. It means that the quantity effects dominate the price effects. And that means, if we increase our prices, what do we think? The question now becomes, what happens to total revenues? The question is, total revenues go up or down? Okay, take a moment, think about it, answer it, pause it before I answer it. Okay, don't cheat yourself and just listen. Engage your brain, answer it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, hopefully you got an answer. Look, if we change our prices up, obviously that has a positive effect on revenue, but the negative effect is going to cause a subsequent negative effect in quantities. Now, if we are elastic, that means quantities effects dominate. That means the negative effect of quantity is going to dominate the positive price effect of increasing our prices. Therefore, total revenues not going to go up. Ouch. They're going to go down. Total revenues should go down, again, because we have elastic demand greater than 1. Quantity effects dominate. So the negative effect of increasing our prices is going to dominate the positive effect of a price increase. And subsequently, if we decrease our price, then total revenues should go up. So if we decrease our price, then total revenue should go up. Okay, that's what we're seeing here. That's cool, right? And you can play it around and see the opposite if we have elasticities. So if we have an elasticity less than 1, then this is called inelastic. And if we have inelastic elasticities, that means that, well, how do you get a fraction less than 1? Well, obviously the price effect is greater than the quantity effect. Therefore, if we increase our prices when we are in inelastic demand, we will have what? So again, it's just the opposite. So if the price goes up and we have inelastic demand, that means that the price effects, so it's inelastic, less than 1. That means the price effects must be, the denominator must be bigger than the numerator. The price effect must be bigger than the quantity effect, which means that this positive price effect on revenue is going to dominate the negative quantity effect, which means that total revenues are going to go through the roof. No, maybe not all the way, but you get the point. They should go up. And the opposite, we can play around with it. That is the analytical value in terms of revenue optimization and how elasticity fits in the context of revenue optimization, because you can obviously, you can see that revenues, so total revenues, by using this logic, think it through, they're optimized when dun, 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 elasticity is equal to 1. Is that right? Is that right? Yes, that is right. Okay, there you go. That is revenue optimization in a nutshell. And I'm trying to think of, do I need to say anything else here? I mean, that's kind of the analytical portion. Let's put on our business caps, okay? Let's put on our business caps and think, when do things become more elastic versus inelastic? So if you remember from first principles of economics, hopefully you guys took that in perfectly competitive markets, demand, we have opposite. Remember, we flip our axes and we talk about Eco 101. Remember, the demand is perfectly elastic, right? Remember, perfect competition, we get perfectly elastic demand. So when you have more competitive markets, when there's more competition, that's going to push for more elastic types of demands. When you have when you have other goods that are more close substitutes, so when you can substitute out, you should have more elastic, right? In other words, if price of pens went to $1 million, guess what? I would just use a pencil. Okay, so the more close substitute, unless of course there were no substitutes and I had to just buy that $1 million pen, or if I didn't have, I'm being extreme, but you get the point, that if there's more substitutes in the marketplace, all of a sudden I can't, consumers they'll be more sensitive to price adjustments because they'll have the outside option to go get something else. So more substitutes make demand more elastic. Less substitutes make demand more inelastic. And you can think about marketing like this. Okay, now this is interesting. You can think about marketing itself as trying to convince consumers that there are really no substitutes. If you have true brand loyalty, then you've convinced your consumer, you convinced your customer that they can't get what you're selling anywhere else. And that's kind of the essence of marketing and how it relates to what we're talking about here. So these are all interrelated topics. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you enjoyed the intuition. We are going to dive into how to actually estimate this very soon. And there's one other topic of elasticity, one other measure I'm going to talk about next, and then we're going to move on. So I hope you enjoy it.